Have you ever wondered what the wealthy talk about when you're not in the room? They're not discussing market strategies. They're not analyzing investment portfolios. They're laughing at you, at your designer sneakers bought on payment plans, at your financed car, at your entire performance of wealth while you drown in actual poverty. This isn't paranoia, this is reality. And today, you're going to hear what they say when the doors close. You're going to understand why your financial struggles aren't accidents. They're by design. And you're the punchline to a joke you didn't even know was being told. But here's what disturbs me most. You're not just the joke. You're paying to be the joke. Every purchase, every flex, every attempt to look successful is making someone else actually successful. While you're performing wealth, they're building it. While you're seeking validation, they're extracting value. And the entire time, behind closed doors, they're laughing. Why do they laugh? Because the game is so obvious once you see it. But most people never see it. They spend their entire lives playing a role someone else wrote, buying props someone else sells, performing for an audience that doesn't care. And the wealthy, they're not in the audience, they own the theater. But that changes today, because I'm about to show you exactly what they see, exactly why they laugh, and exactly how to stop being the entertainment and start playing the real game. This is going to hurt, but pain is how you know you're waking up. Part 1. The joke. Let me tell you what rich people actually say about you. Not what they post on social media, not what they say in interviews, what they actually say in private rooms where you'll never be invited. They laugh at your car. That BMW you're so proud of, the one you financed for 7 years at 18% interest, they know you don't own it. The bank owns it. You're just making payments on a depreciating asset while calling it success. They find this hilarious because they know something you don't. The person who sold you that car drives a 10-year-old Toyota. He went home after your purchase and laughed about the commission you just paid him to bury yourself in debt. They laugh at your clothes. Those designer brands you save up for, the logos you wear like badges of accomplishment. They're laughing because those brands are owned by conglomerates that specifically target people who can't actually afford luxury. Real wealth doesn't wear logos. Real wealth is invisible. You're wearing a costume that announces to everyone who understands money that you don't have any. They laugh at your social media. Every post about your vacation, every photo of your expensive dinner, every story showing off your new purchase. They're laughing because they understand what you don't. You're not building wealth. You're building an audience for your own poverty. Every flex is a transaction where you trade actual money for digital validation. And they know that trade is making you poorer by the minute. But here's what they laugh at most. You think you're impressing them. You think your performance is working. You think the luxury car, the designer clothes, the lifestyle posts are moving you closer to their world. They're not. You're moving further away with every purchase, because while you're spending money to look like them, they're spending money to become richer. While you're buying the costume, they're buying the costume company. The wealthy understand something about human psychology that you're only learning right now. Poor people spend money to look rich. Rich people spend money to get richer. And there's a massive industry built entirely on exploiting that difference. Every luxury brand, every high-end car dealership, every premium credit card, they're not selling to rich people. They're selling to people who want to look rich, and you're the target market. Think about who's getting wealthy in your transactions. When you finance a car, who profits? The dealership, the finance company, the insurance company. Everyone except you. When you buy designer clothes, who profits? The manufacturer, the retailer, the credit card company if you financed it. Everyone except you. When you post your lifestyle on social media, who profits? the platform selling your attention to advertisers, the brands you're unconsciously promoting. Everyone except you. You're not participating in wealth, you're funding it. You're not joining the rich, you're paying them. And they know this. They've always known this. That's why they laugh. But the laughter isn't cruel, it's not personal. It's simply the reaction to watching someone do exactly what you predicted they'd do. It's like watching someone fall for the same magic trick over and over again. Eventually it becomes funny, not because you're evil, but because the pattern is so obvious once you see how it works. And the pattern is this: they create the desire. You fulfill the desire. They profit from your fulfillment. Then they create the next desire. It's a loop. An endless loop. And every cycle makes them richer and you poorer. But you don't see the loop because you're inside it. You only see the next desire, the next purchase, the next flex, the next attempt to finally feel like you've made it. But here's the truth they know, and you're just learning. You'll never make it on this path. Because this path doesn't lead to wealth. It leads to more consumption, more debt, more performance. The path you're on is specifically designed to keep you running without ever arriving. And they designed it that way. Which brings us to the second part. Because now you need to understand not just what they're laughing at, but how they set up the game in the first place. Part 2. The game but aim. The game isn't complicated, but it's invisible until someone shows it to you. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Every commercial, every movie, every song, every social media post, we're all running the same program. Make you want what you can't afford. Then give you the tools to buy it anyway. This is the game. Create desire, provide credit, extract wealth, repeat. Let me show you how this works in practice. You're young, ambitious, starting to make decent money. The system immediately identifies you as a target, not for wealth building, for wealth extraction. Because you have something valuable, disposable income, and a desire to signal success. First, they sell you the car. Not because you need a car, because you need to announce you're not broke anymore. They show you images of success, images of attractive people in expensive vehicles, images of the life you could have. And they make it easy. No money down. Low monthly payments. They don't mention that you're signing away 7 years of your income for a machine that loses value every single day you own it. You take the deal. You're proud. You post the car online. Your friends congratulate you. You feel like you're winning. Meanwhile, the wealthy person who owns the dealership goes home and tells his wife about the customer who just paid $45,000 for a car worth $30,000, financed at a rate that will cost another $15,000 in interest. He laughs because he knows you think you bought a car. You didn't buy a car. You bought a very expensive subscription to looking successful, but the game doesn't stop there. Now that you have the car, you need the clothes to match. You need the watch. You need the apartment. You need the entire lifestyle to be consistent. Because if you have a luxury car but cheap clothes, it looks wrong. The performance demands coherence, so you upgrade everything. Slowly at first, then faster. The credit card companies see you spending and they increase your limits. Congratulations, they say, you've been approved for more debt. But they call it credit. They call it purchasing power. They call it everything except what it is. A rope you're using to hang yourself financially. And the beautiful part of their game, you defend it, you justify it. You explain to anyone who questions your spending that you work hard, you deserve nice things, you're investing in yourself. You use all the language they taught you to rationalize the very behavior that's keeping you poor. They've convinced you that spending is investing, that consumption is success, that looking wealthy is the same as being wealthy. And you believe it so completely that you'll argue with anyone who suggests otherwise. This is why they laugh. Not because you're stupid, but because the programming is so perfect that you'll defend your own exploitation. You'll fight to stay in the game that's extracting your wealth. You'll mock people who try to show you the exit, because leaving the game means admitting you were played. And that's more painful than staying broke. The researchers who studied actual millionaires discovered something that destroys this entire game. Real wealthy people don't play it. They don't finance cars. They don't buy designer clothes for the logo. They don't post their lifestyle for validation. They do the opposite of everything you've been taught success looks like. And this is where the game reveals itself. Because if wealth required the things you're buying, wealthy people would buy them, but they don't. Which means those things aren't symbols of wealth. They're symbols of wanting to appear wealthy. There's a massive difference. The person driving the BMW on a 7-year loan wants to appear wealthy. The person driving the paid-off Toyota, who owns 3 rental properties, is actually wealthy. And the person who sold the BMW to the first person understands this distinction perfectly. That's why he's laughing. But here's where it gets darker. The game isn't just about selling you products. It's about selling you an identity. They've convinced you that you are what you consume, that your worth is measured by your possessions, that your success is visible in your lifestyle. This is the most profitable lie ever told, because once you believe your identity is tied to consumption, you'll never stop consuming. You'll never save because saving doesn't announce anything. You'll never invest because investments are invisible. You'll spend everything you make and more trying to maintain an identity that's designed to keep you broke. And they know this. The entire economy is built on this. If everyone suddenly started living below their means, saving aggressively, and investing wisely, the consumption economy would collapse. So they can't let that happen. They need you consuming. They need you financing. They need you performing, because your performance is their profit. This is why financial education isn't taught in schools. This is why saving is boring and spending is celebrated. This is why every movie hero is rich and displays it. This is why your feeds are full of luxury and lifestyle. Because the game requires players, and if you understood the game, you'd stop playing. But most people never stop. They play until they die. They perform until they can't perform anymore. And then they leave behind debt instead of wealth, burden instead of legacy, a cautionary tale instead of an inheritance. The wealthy know this pattern. They've seen it 1,000,000 times. Someone makes good money, immediately upgrades lifestyle, stays broke despite high income, wonders why they can't get ahead. It happens so predictably that it's become a joke in wealthy circles. And that brings us to the hardest part, the mirror, because now you need to look at yourself and answer a question you've been avoiding. Part 3, the mirror. Are you the joke? Don't answer quickly. Actually look. Look at your car payment. Look at your credit card balances. Look at your closet full of clothes with logos. Look at your social media full of performances. Look at your bank account. Look at your investment accounts, or the lack of them. Now ask yourself, am I building wealth or performing wealth? Because those are opposite actions. You cannot do both. The energy, money, and time you spend on performance is energy, money, and time you're not spending on building. Every dollar that goes toward looking successful is a dollar that can't go toward becoming successful. This is the mirror moment. The moment you realize that everything you thought was bringing you closer to wealth was actually pushing you further away. Every flex was a step backward. Every purchase was a decision against your future. Every post was a public announcement of your financial misunderstanding. And here's what makes this mirror so painful. You can see all the money you'll never get back. The car payments, the clothes you wore twice, the dinners you posted once, the trips you financed, all of it gone. Converted from potential wealth into performed wealth. And performed wealth isn't wealth at all. It's just expensive theater. The person you were trying to impress doesn't even remember you. The lifestyle you were trying to display has already been forgotten by everyone who saw it. But the debt remains. The missed investments remain. The compounding you didn't start remains. All of it permanent, while the performance that created it was temporary. This is what the wealthy see when they look at you. They see someone trading their future for others' attention. They see someone converting time into money, then immediately converting money into validation. They see the most inefficient wealth-building strategy possible, executed with complete confidence. And they laugh because they did the opposite. They converted time into money, then converted money into assets, then converted assets into more money, then repeated that loop until money was no longer a concern. Same starting point, opposite strategy, completely different outcome. But here's what the mirror reveals that hurts most. It's not too late to change. But it requires something most people can't do. It requires admitting you were wrong about everything. Wrong about what success looks like. Wrong about what wealthy people do. Wrong about what builds wealth. Wrong about why you make the financial decisions you make. Wrong about the entire framework you've used to think about money. And admitting you were wrong means everyone who told you so was right. Your parents who told you that car was too expensive. Your friend who said save instead of spend. Your grandmother who said stop trying to impress people. All of them right. And you wrong. Most people can't do this. They can't face the mirror because the mirror reflects wasted years, wasted money, wasted potential. So they look away, they justify, they rationalize. They go back to performing because performing feels better than admitting the performance was the problem. But some people can face the mirror. Some people can look at themselves and say, I was the joke. I was playing a game I didn't understand. I was losing while thinking I was winning. And some people can then say the most powerful words in financial transformation, not anymore. Not anymore will I trade my future for temporary validation. Not anymore will I perform wealth instead of building it. Not anymore will I be the entertainment in someone else's profit model. Not anymore will I let others laugh at my financial ignorance. This is the mirror moment, and what you do after seeing your reflection determines whether you stay the joke or become the person wealthy people take seriously. Because here's what they don't laugh at. Someone who drives a modest car but owns property. Someone who wears normal clothes but has investments. Someone who lives below their means but builds above their situation. Someone who understands that wealth is what you keep, not what you show. They don't laugh at that person because that person is playing the real game, not the performance game, not the consumption game, the actual wealth-building game. And in that game they're a player, not a punchline. But getting from here to there requires walking through fire. Social fire, psychological fire, identity fire. Because everything about you will be questioned when you stop performing. Part 4. The rebellion. When you stop playing their game, something happens that you're not prepared for. The same people who encouraged your spending will attack your saving. The same friends who celebrated your car will mock your old one. The same family who praised your lifestyle will question your frugality. This is the rebellion, not against the system, against the expectations of everyone who needs you to keep playing the game. Your friend who leases a new BMW every 3 years will feel personally attacked when you drive your paid-off older car. Not because you judged him, but because your existence judges him. Your different choice implies his choice might be wrong, and he can't handle that implication. So he'll attack you instead. Your co-worker who finances designer wardrobes will comment on your simpler clothes. She'll suggest you're not ambitious enough, not successful enough, not keeping up, because your choice to not play the status game makes her question why she's playing it, and she can't face that question. so she'll shame you instead. Your family who valued appearances will wonder what happened to you. You were doing so well. You had the nice car. You dressed well. You looked successful. And now you look ordinary. They'll worry. They'll ask if you're okay financially, completely unaware that you're now better financially than you've ever been, specifically because you stopped trying to look good financially. This is what the wealthy know that you're just learning. The rebellion against consumption culture costs you socially. People will distance themselves. Relationships will change. Some will end, because those relationships were built on shared participation in performance. And when you stop performing, the foundation disappears. But here's what makes this rebellion worth it. Every person who leaves wasn't really with you anyway. They were with your performance. They were with your willingness to participate in their validation of the game. They were with the role you played, not the person you are. And the people who stay? They're the real ones. The ones who respect your financial intelligence more than your appearance. The ones who care about your actual well-being more than your social media. The ones who want you to win, not just look like you're winning. The researchers found this pattern across every millionaire they studied. At some point, each of them faced social resistance to their financial decisions. Family questioned them, friends mocked them, society dismissed them. But they continued anyway. Because they understood something crucial: other people's opinions don't compound. Investments do. You can listen to the broke people around you and stay broke with them. Or you can ignore them, do what wealthy people actually do, and eventually they'll either understand or disappear. Either outcome is better than staying in poverty to maintain relationships with people who keep you poor. This is the rebellion, choosing financial reality over social comfort, choosing actual wealth over performed wealth, choosing your future over others' opinions. And it's brutal at first. You'll feel left out. When your friends go to expensive restaurants and you decline, you'll feel excluded. When they post vacation photos and you're saving instead, you'll feel behind. When they upgrade their lifestyles and you maintain yours, you'll feel less than. But here's what you need to understand. They're not ahead of you. They're leveraging their future to fund their present. You're leveraging your present to fund your future. Different timelines, different destinations. In 5 years, your paths will be so different, you won't even be comparable. In 5 years, they'll still be making payments. You'll own. They'll still be working because they have to. You'll be working because you want to. They'll still be performing. You'll be living. The divergence is exponential once it starts. But you have to survive the rebellion period. The period where it looks like you're falling behind. The period where your old life is gone, but your new life hasn't fully materialized yet. This is the valley, and most people turn back in the valley. They can't handle the social pressure. They can't handle looking ordinary. They can't handle the questions and the judgment and the feeling of being left behind, so they go back to performing. They finance another car. They upgrade their lifestyle. They return to the game, and the wealthy laugh again. Because the valley is the test. It's where commitment is proven. It's where you discover if you actually want wealth, or if you just wanted to look wealthy. And most people fail the test. They want to look wealthy more than they want to be wealthy. So they go back to the game. But the ones who stay in the valley, who keep driving the modest car and wearing the simple clothes and living below their means, while everyone questions them, those are the ones who emerge on the other side. And on the other side is something the performers will never understand. Freedom, not the fake freedom of having enough credit to buy what you want. Real freedom. The freedom of having enough assets that work produces income. The freedom of not needing others' opinions because you're not performing for others. The freedom of looking ordinary while being extraordinary. This is what the wealthy have that you want, not the cars, not the clothes, not the lifestyle, the freedom the ability to say no to anything that doesn't serve you, the power to walk away from any situation without financial consequences, the peace of knowing your survival doesn't depend on next month's paycheck. And you can't buy this freedom. You can only build it, slowly, invisibly, while everyone thinks you're doing nothing, while they laugh at your old car and your simple life and your lack of performance. You're building what they'll never have because they can't stop performing long enough to build anything real. The researchers documented this transformation across thousands of cases. Someone stops performing, social circle resists, person continues anyway. Years pass in seeming obscurity, then suddenly, quietly, that person has built real wealth. Not performed wealth, actual assets, actual income, actual freedom. And the people who laughed, they're still laughing, still performing, still broke, still playing the game, still making the wealthy wealthier while staying poor themselves, still the joke. But you won't be, because you saw the mirror, you understood the game, you chose the rebellion. And now you're building what they're too afraid to build, a life that doesn't require an audience. Part 5. The Transformation. Let me tell you what happens after you stop being the joke. After you stop performing, after you choose building over displaying. Because this is where it gets interesting. First, you become invisible, socially invisible, financially invisible. People stop noticing you because you're not announcing anything anymore. Your old car blends into traffic. Your simple clothes don't catch eyes. Your social media goes quiet. You become background noise in a world obsessed with foreground performance. And this invisibility is your greatest asset. Because while you're invisible, you're accumulating. Every dollar you're not spending on performance goes into building. Every month compounds. Every year multiplies. And nobody notices because there's nothing to notice. You look the same, but underneath, everything is changing. The wealthy call this quiet wealth. The researchers documented it extensively. Real millionaires live this way for decades. They build massive net worth while looking completely ordinary. They drive cars nobody envies. They wear clothes nobody photographs. They live in houses nobody admires. And they're fine with this because they understand what most people don't, looking poor while being rich is infinitely better than looking rich while being poor. But something else happens during this invisible period. You start to see clearly, without the noise of performance, without the pressure of maintaining an image, without the constant comparison. You see the game everywhere. You see it in every commercial, every social media post, every conversation about purchases. The entire system designed to keep people consuming becomes visible. And you see the players, your coworker who just financed new furniture, your friend who upgraded their phone again, your family member planning an expensive vacation on credit. You see them playing the exact game you just left, making the exact mistakes you just stopped making, being the exact joke you just stopped being. And here's what's strange. You don't feel superior. You feel sad, because you remember how it felt to be in the game, how it felt to need validation, how it felt to think the next purchase would finally make you feel successful. You remember all of it, and you wish you could show them what you see, but you can't, because they're not ready, just like you weren't ready until you were. They need to face their own mirror, their own realization, their own rebellion. You can't do it for them. You can only do it for yourself. So you continue building, month after month, year after year, while everyone else is still performing. And slowly, quietly, something shifts. Your investment accounts grow larger than your broke friend's car payment. Your net worth grows larger than your co-worker's credit card debt. Your freedom grows larger than your family's dependence on their jobs. And then one day, years into this invisible journey, something happens. Someone who knew you before sees you now and asks the question, did you do well in investments or something? This is the moment your invisibility ends and your reality becomes visible. Not because you announced it, not because you performed it, but because it grew too large to hide. The compound interest, the accumulated investments, the built wealth, it all becomes undeniable. And their question reveals everything. They assumed you had nothing because you showed nothing. They assumed you were struggling because you lived modestly. They assumed you were behind because you never raced, and now they're confused because the assumptions were all wrong. This is when they stop laughing. This is when they start asking questions. This is when they realize you weren't playing the game they were playing. You were playing a completely different game, and you won. But here's what's beautiful about this moment. You don't need it. You don't need their recognition. You don't need their validation. You don't need their understanding, because you already have what matters. You have freedom. You have security. You have wealth that doesn't require an audience. The transformation is complete when their opinion doesn't touch you, when they finally understand what you built and you feel nothing. No pride, no superiority, no need to explain, just quiet satisfaction that you stopped being the joke years before they stopped laughing. The researchers found this is the final stage of wealth building. Not just having money, but being completely indifferent to others' knowledge of it. Real wealth doesn't need recognition. Only performed wealth needs an audience. And this is where you are now, not performing, not explaining, not announcing, just existing with the security that performing wealth seekers will never have. Just living with the freedom that consumption culture can't provide. Just being wealthy in the only way that matters, invisibly, quietly, completely. Closing. So let me ask you one final question. Are you ready to stop being the joke? Are you ready to let them laugh while you build? Are you ready to look ordinary while becoming extraordinary? Because this is the choice, right now, today. You can keep performing and stay broke while looking successful, or you can stop performing and build wealth while looking ordinary. The wealthy already made their choice. That's why they're wealthy. That's why they laugh. Not because they're cruel, but because they're watching people choose performance over reality, appearance over substance, the joke over the truth. And now you know. You've seen the game. You've looked in the mirror. You've understood the rebellion. You've learned the path. The only question remaining is, will you walk it? If you're done being the joke, if you're ready to stop performing and start building, if you're willing to let them laugh while you win, write in the comments, not the joke. Let's see who's ready to stop being entertainment and start building empires. Let's see who's ready to trade validation for freedom. Let's see who's ready to let the wealthy laugh today so you can laugh for the rest of your life. The choice is yours, the performance or the power, the audience or the assets, the joke or the empire. Choose wisely, because they're still laughing. The question is, how long will you let them?